Here we are. So Customcells actually is about battery innovations. We are in battery innovation since 10 years, and we're exactly positioned at the sweet spots where innovation meets industrialization. So where new innovative things actually go first time into scale. That's where we're positioned, and that's our contribution to the energy transition. So let's have a look at the company. So the company actually currently this year is targeting 30 million revenue. So we are generating revenue since 10 years now. We're 13 years in the market right now. We have raised some capital already. I get to this a little bit later. 75 million capital so far. And well, you see a couple of our customers, 500 customers served so far. On the top right, there's quite some automotive companies and tier ones, etc. Why automotive? I think that's self-explaining. The decarbonization first simply happened in mobility and automotive, and that's why these have been the very first ones asking for very high performance battery cells. Yeah, you see that we've completed quite some projects, and customers are usually coming back. So it seems they're satisfied, and I would like to highlight two more experiences we had so far. One is our joint venture with Porsche. So Porsche actually built a joint venture with ourselves, especially targeting the very high product lines, the premium product lines of Porsche with very high performant battery cells. So that's a company we built within 1.5 years, another 200 people. They're now actually manufacturing at 1 gigawatt hour scale, so the plant goes live. I think that was an outstanding achievement of Customcells. And another one is, I guess, to have a look at our current customer base. The customer base is very high-performing players like Lilium. So that's a very, very exciting product because it's kind of something like, in terms of performance, 10x from what usually automotive companies use. So it's a very, very high-spec cell. It's obviously also very profitable and comes at a different price. It's very high safety standards. And we also have customers like Formula One. Would like to point out Formula One sounds like no business or just very small business, and it is. At the same point in time, the technology we actually developed in Formula One was followed up by heavy-duty mining industry. So it's for us usually kind of to enter the market at a premium price level, at a premium technology, and then to penetrate the market. So it's kind of in the end leads for our follow-up business. You see a couple of more customers. Chrysler, for example, is 100% owned by John Deere. So you see a couple of agriculture applications in that. They've got very specific requirements which automotive and standard mass market cells can't meet. And that's why they're kind of also very interested in our products. You see a couple of other players. H55, for example, is an aviation player, e-aviation player. Another one which is already certified for aviation supply for many years and also opens a couple of other doors. Super 73 on the very bottom right is, for example, leisure and two-wheelers. That's also a market. So you see we've got a very broad market diversity, which also offers risk diversification and different leads. So that's the company in a nutshell. And now, where we are positioned. We are positioned and targeting for the battery premium market. So that is not the mass market like standard automobility, it's not consumer electronics, it's not stationary storage systems, but it's everything which differentiates. So everything which has got a certain performance differentiation, which got a specific KPI like high cycle stability or high energy density, everything you can't buy out of the shelf and the big ones can't produce. That market is very sizable. It's 180 gigawatt hours of scale in 2035. That's an independent number from actually McKinsey study. And the McKinsey study also offers that 110 out of these 180 gigawatt hours will be undersupplied at that point in time. So it's an attractive market, it's a sizable market, and it's profitable. And by the way, it's growing kind of 2x the speed of the standard battery market. Yeah, so it's a very attractive market for us. Let's have a look in some more detail. So how does it grow and what are the drivers behind? So on the very first beginning, 25 next year, you see there's already kind of quite a sizable market of 65 gigawatt hours TAM and 45 gigawatt hours of SAM. that corresponds to 15 billion US dollars, or euros actually, with a significant margin, 55 percentage of gross margin. So you see that's an outstanding market. It's mainly driven by especially BEVs, so battery-equipped vehicles, so automotive premium cars, very simply speaking, because they have the current first market penetration right now. But we see some others coming up slowly as well. Some of the follow-ups in the next years, 2030 and the like, will be agriculture. I mentioned John Deere and some other customers. Construction. Aviation is also at the edge of really kind of making it. We see different systems. We see eVTOL, or electrical vertical takeoff, and then landing, but also conventional takeoff and landing, just a regular airplane, which is just electrified and then goes down with a runway. They've got different requirements, but they're very specific, and they've got very high safety standards. So that's why automotive and standard cell suppliers actually can't supply this. Yeah, so that's a newly upcoming market. You see the growth is immense, and finally the entire story ends up at a TAM of 860 gigawatt hours. So that's, a giant scale. And 180 is actually what is applicable to our current products. That corresponds to 55 billion market size. And you see the gross margin is even growing. So that's the market we're targeting for. Well, that market seems to be attractive. Can we defend it? And the very simple answer is we can. If we look to the right bottom, then you see, well, this margin, is that attractive for the large-scale manufacturers like Panasonic, CATL, Northwood, and the like. And they simply can't enter this market because their play simply doesn't play off in this market. Yeah, they use usually kind of single plants in the size and order of 40, 80, or 120 gigawatt hours of scale. So it's a very huge number. They've got a very standardized product. And the standardized products very simply fail to match the performance criteria. Yeah, so there's a technology barrier. Also, if you look into certification, for example, aviation needs a very long lead time for certification. That's something like 5 to 10 years at least to get into certification. We're certified and we've got a kind of first mover advantage there. Yeah? So for us, that is a market which is not only defendable but also sustainable for a long time against the big players. And if you look to the very top left side, saying, okay, well, how about the smaller players, the R&D players? Very simply speaking, what differentiates us from those is we're in manufacturing for 10 years. So most of them actually do innovation, like material play, etc. But for material play towards the first cells, usually need something like 5, 7, 8 years. And then from first cells to mass manufacturing, you need another 5 to 10 years. And that's exactly the sweet spot where nobody else is positioned. That is the unique positioning of Customcells. So it's a defendable market, and it's a very attractive and sizable market. So how do we actually kind of get this to this position? What differentiates, and what is the magic source behind? If you look to the gray curve, it's a standard spider diagram of KPIs, then you realize, very simply speaking, that a standard, say, automotive cell in gray line has got a certain cost sensitivity. And of course, everybody would like to have more energy density, more power density, cycle stability. Time to market should be quick, and safe, of course, should be high. But finally, if it comes to, okay, do you really need higher performance and are you willing to pay for it? Then other applications are different. Let's take an example of aviation. They sometimes need very, very high power density. Yeah, as an example. And what we actually have achieved is we've got a modular cell kit which allows us to actually address this very, very high spec that usually comes with a lower price sensitivity, so they're willing to pay more. And it simply it's driven by, a certain, a specific requirement, and they are actually different. So not every customer is asking for the same thing. So what you need is something which can address different characteristica with very high performance at a low complexity. And here is the magic behind. That is our modular cell kit. The modular cell kit actually is enabling exactly this. So you see a couple of different technologies like cell types, like pouch cells or cylindrical cells. You see anode and cathode technologies. And you see especially process technology, so manufacturing technology. And we can combine them. On the right-hand side, you see an example for, a medium cost but high performance example. So that's something you can use at a medium cost for very high performance, for example, BEV applications, so automotive applications, Ferraris, Porsches, etc. And on the left side, you actually kind of choose a different combination. And what you see is that ends in a super performance at a higher cost level as well. Yeah, so it's in the end, just very few items of technology we can combine with each other, so we can reach out to very many different industries and customer types, realize very high performance criteria, and manage that at very low complexity. So that's actually the magic sauce behind it. We call this our modular cell kit. Yeah, how about the funding situation and where we're currently now? So we're currently raising Series B. You see we've completed seed funding in 21 and a Series A of 60 million in end of 22. You see our investor portfolio. So Porsche is in as a Porsche Ventures, actually, not Porsche AG, as a strategic investor. We've got established players like V-Squared Ventures, and World Fund as an impact fund, and Abacon as a family office. So you see we grew out of Europe, and that's actually where we're home-based. Now we're actually heading for the Series B. The use of proceeds for the 60 million to come in Series B are, as you see, we are building a new prototype line for cylindrical cells. That's a new cell format, which simply becomes standardized and offers us access to different industries, and that allows us to standardize our format and put different technologies actually into the same cell format. And the other one we currently especially build up as a pre-lithiation line. Pre-lithiation might be known by some of you. In a nutshell, pre-lithiation is a technology you use to actually put inside a battery cell very, very high lithium content, and by that very high power and energy density. And we're actually kind of one of the leading, I would say, one or two in the world with pre-lithiation technologies, and especially the manufacturing technology needs to now mature for then later gigawatt-hour scale funding. And that actually is our plan laid out. So Series B is on the run right now. We aim to close this until the middle of 2024. Well, that completes Customcells. Any questions?